Notably, Antonio Giovinazzi win from 21st on the grid. 5 red lights at Monza. They go out, and it's a good start for Alexander Albon. He's got a good initial getaway. Markelov's gone nicely, and it's Russell who's immediately on the defensive. That was so close to contact as they go 3 wide into turn number 1. Russell to the inside. Markelov, though, powering through and taking the lead at turn number 1. Albon trying to demote Russell down to 3rd, and he has, from pole to 3rd for Russell. As off the road there goes Antonio Fuoco, and we've got Roy Nissany off the road as well. Now Russell has to keep the cool head, has to try and come back, because we've got Markelov into the lead of this race. Then we've got Albon, then it's George Russell, who's immediately fighting back as they go to the second chicane. So Markelov, Albon, and it's getting very close there. That is Lando Norris making a move, as we see off the road Louis Delatraz going deep into the second chicane and now rejoining. So a dream getaway for Artem Markelov, not what the pole sitter needed. George Russell falling back.
Let me say that Markelov was just perfect. He had the free space, free air in front of him. He started so well. He took the lead stream from Russell.
In front going okay? Looks okay, mate. Looks okay. Don't worry.
And then he opened the line. He attacked him on the outside and he braked so deep. So Russell was just surprised by the brake of Markelov.
He certainly was. You heard George Russell on the team radio asking, is the front wing okay? It is okay, and he is free to race as they all tuck into each other's slipstream, going down to the Parabolica. And it's Arjun Maini who's had a great start, and Latifi has improved 1 position there, and you can see Maini has got himself up the order. Let's confirm the order then as they cut the beam for the first time to go on to lap number 2 with a change in the leadership. We've got Artem Markelov in the lead, then Albon, then Russell, then Latifi, Maini. And that might be about to change because Lando Norris knows he needs to go on a charge, and he's accelerating and going past. Oh, he's getting so close to the back of the guy. Somehow slowed that one down, and that is a late braking move that he needed to make. He needed that for his race, and he's pulled it off.
That was magical, because since then he was missing the brake, but then he shifted down the gears and he could save his brake and gain in 1 place. Norris was just perfect in the first 2 laps.
So Norris manages to get himself up into 6th, now into 5th position. Maini down to 6th place, and they're getting very close to putting Delatraz in the gravel. Delatraz is in the gravel and loses a couple of places there as they get very, very close behind the Campos there of Roy Nissany, who's got himself up to 9th position from 15th on the grid. So it's been a little bit wild in the middle of the pack there, but Nissany up to 9th and fighting for all he's worth as we recap what happened at the start.
Just free space in front of Markelov, and he started very well, and then look, he took the lead stream of Russell. He tried to open the line to Albon, he braked so deep, and then he went to close the line. Oh, that was perfect, Alex. One of the best starts of the season.
Certainly was, and it's given him the race lead. You saw that Alexander Albon angled the car, but it didn't work for him. Look how close they get here. Wow, that was close, and they both got away with it as they build up to massive speed on the cold tyres and the cold brakes, and it was Markelov who won the late braking contest to take the lead. Russell just checking. This is on board with Lando Norris immediately straight through. Say goodnight to Arjun Maini. He disappears in the distance, but not only that, that was Luca Giotto, and I think obviously he has managed to fight back past both of these drivers. Arjun Maini, you can see ahead, and Luca Giotto. And Norris, after not a great getaway, able to recover. These were the cars coming off the road in a pretty major way. And it was Giotto straight on at turn number 1. And this was a few moments ago at the second chicane. Louis Delatraz finding the gravel and losing positions behind the Prema there. You can see going through as well as Roy Nissany hanging on. Oh, this is going to be a change in it for the lead. Artem Markelov and Alexander Albon. Albon speaking about the need to be more aggressive, and he's going on the offensive here, trying to take the lead of the race. But Artem Markelov placed the car in the right position, and they're battling for the lead.
He opened the line from mid-corner to the exit. He just opened the line and pushed Albon on the curb, on the outside curb, and he lost a bit of control. Markelov was extremely aggressive to this to defend his position.
All the time, Russell closing in. He will be liking what he sees ahead. DRS now enabled, and Lando Norris trying to close the gap. He's got one car between him and the driver that we are on board with. That is George Russell, the Mercedes junior driver, closing in. He can see the race lead. It's just there in the distance. It's currently held by Markelov, who is having to go on the defensive. Very close between two cars going into the Parabolica there. And I think Makino has got past Argenmani in a pass for 7th position. So over the line onto lap 4, the lead definitely being contested, and Artem Markelov looking in his mirrors rather than building a stint and being able to pull away on these tyres. We've got Giotto. Oh, it's a move for the lead and a lock-up. Can Alexander Albon slow the car down and take the lead? Yes, he can. How about that from Alexander Albon, who takes the lead of the feature race, and now Markelov will be looking back at this man who we ride on board with as they go throh Curva Grande. Markelov locked up. He couldn't keep Albon behind. Can he now hang on to 2nd place?
It's not so easy being flat here, and look, he's trying on the outside.
Oh, he's putting pressure on the driver in front, but Albon spoke about needing to make the moves at the start of the race, and he's delivered on what he was talking about.
Yeah, it was perfect, and the move was great. That's why Markelov was attacked the lap before. It's a replay, and Albon tried on the outside. He just missed the second variante.
So he went deep, went defensive, placed the car well. He maintained the lead after this moment. He lost the lead a few corners later, down into turn number 1. Albon gave it everything. This was impressive stuff.
Yeah, that was impressive because Albon braked so deep, and he had a small lock-up. Markelov maybe can cause some vibration, but no, he's still there, just behind Albon, and maybe you can have the chance to attack him, because look, it's so close.
We're trying to stick behind him. Use his toe, okay? Use his toe.
Hold on a minute. Tadasuke Makino is flying right now. He has just got up to 3rd position. Extraordinary pace from the Japanese driver, who I said would be charging through. He's come from 14th on 4 laps, and now battle resumed in the lead of this race. Albon on the left-hand side, Markelov on the right. Makino with more pace than both of them. Could be another change to the lead, and there is. Retaking 1st position, Artem Markelov gets what he lost at the first turn 1 lap ago. But how about Makino? In a different race to everyone right now.
Makino was just perfect because, look, Markelov, he was just using the toe, trying to attack on the outside, and he was already in front in the braking points. But Makino, look at him, he's just 3rd, and he flied away to George Russell. For Makino, is a great achievement.
On the medium tyre, everyone else trying to make it work, and he's going through into 2nd position. So the medium tyre working so much better than the Red Bull Super Soft, and then we've got Markelov just hanging on to it into the first Lesmo. He nearly loses the car, and he gathers it together. And Tadasuke Makino, there are other drivers in this field on medium tyres. There aren't a lot of them though, and he has absolutely roared through.
Yeah, the soft are too soft, and Makino,
As soon as possible. Coming.
Well, this is unbelievable. Tadasuke Makino has gone in a few laps, just 5 laps. He's gone from 14th to 1st.
And you can see from Markelov, oh, he's losing the car in the exit of the corner. I think that the tires are making the difference. All the other drivers already destroyed his tires. Makino is driving perfectly.
But this was him getting past Alexander Albon a few moments ago. There are 2 other drivers in this race. Both MP cars are on the medium tyre. That is Boschong and Boccolacci. But it's Makino taking his teammate into Ascari, making the alternate strategy work. And it is massively quicker than the other cars. So the guys who started on the Supersofts are still racing. This is Latifi and Norris, who had a mini lock up there as he closes in on his championship rival. So they've got to wait until the pit window opens at the end of this lap, and this will be so much more painful. Last time around, Makino on a 1:38.2, Markelov on a 1:40.6, Albon on a 1:42.0. Unbelievable difference. Latifi is able to keep some life in his tyres. He's taking the fight to Lando Norris.
And Lando Norris is struggling a bit there because it seems that Latifi is just a bit quicker. But how is possible that Makino is 4 seconds per lap quicker than Albon? Oh!
Box now, Joe. Box now. Box.
So that's damage there for Nissany. Lorandi rejoining the racetrack. Sergio Sene Camera trying to come back through as well. There's a damage there as he got a puncher. He's heading into the gravel. Alessio Lorandi in the Trident. And that will bring out the double waved yellows in the middle of the racetrack as the top drivers from the start at least will try and hang on. And Makino, well, one of the most amazing stints. No one was expecting tyre degradation like this. And that was Roy Nissany tagging Sergio Sene Camera into the corner. And Camera was okay there. Roy Nissany not taking the right route and having a bit of a frantic time of it.
I'm interested to understand if the driver with soft tires, they're going to pit immediately now because they are risking to lose so much time to the driver with a different strategy. And so, how lucky was Sette Camera? He could use... Ooh.
They're all going to come in. Everyone who can come in will come in. Those tyres are absolutely gone. Look at the state of these Redwall Super Softs. They are absolutely in pieces as they come to the end. And Makino, who had already taken the lead, sails on by now from the red-walled Supersoft onto the white-walled, slightly slow for Alexander Albon. We'll check the order. They came in with Markelov, the leading one in this group. Albon was ahead of George Russell. We'll watch where Lando Norris is in the shake-up as well. He's behind his championship rival, Russell, getting ahead of Albon, and that was a slow stop. Everyone coming in who can. If you have to run another lap, the punishment you're taking 4 or 5 seconds. It's like Bahrain. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this here at Monza.
You're right. He's extreme the situation now, and I'm curious to understand if Makino could maintain the pace till the end because he needs to beat just in the last 2 or 3 laps because soft tires don't remain competitive after 3 laps. So extremely important for him.
Okay, mate, we're still in P1 of the boxes. Good job for everyone there. Russell has jumped Albon. Maybe they're going to fight. So don't overpush those fronts. Do what you can.
So Markelov being told he is still leading the gaggle of cars that came into the pits, and good work there. As we see, this is Latifi who had to go on another lap as Albon took priority. They chose not to double stack, and as a result he's had to do another horrible lap on these tyres. He will come in, and you see the 2 MP Motorsport cars who started this race on the alternate strategy, and no one, precisely no one, expected this level of degradation today. It was an obvious choice to go for the super soft tyre, but it has not worked out for any of the leading runners, and now Tadasuke Makino will look to build a gap of, well, he's got an enormous lead at the moment. If he can build 6 more seconds, he's going to hang on to the lead.
Was unlucky Sette Camera that he lost the chance to start in the first row, but he didn't have the time to change the tires and change strategy because it could be the save of his race, but it was extremely unlucky.
So out comes Nicholas Latifi. He has come in, and so all of the leading runners, apart from 3, have made their stops, and you see he's come out behind his teammate, but ahead of Norris, and Maney got ahead of Norris as well. So that sequence of pit stops not working out for the driver who started today on 183 points, second in the championship. This was Roy Nissany having, oh, bit of a mess there down at Campos. Hope he's okay. I think he is, as they change the front nose. So you don't have the same number of people here, and they eventually got the nose off. Slightly chaotic scenes down there, but you don't have the same numbers that they do in Formula 1. And this is Jack Aitken, started in the middle of the pack. He'll be ruined the fact he didn't start on the alternate strategy, and a poor stop for him there as he tried to leave the box. Frustration in what is turning into a frustrating season for him. So the top 3 on the road, Makino, Boschong and Boccolacci, and Makino just absolutely loving this medium tyre in a way that the MPs aren't. He's doing a 1:37.2, 0.8 of a second last time around slower. Boschong, and now the question is, how long can they go into the race? Because if it's a long way, they won't need to use the softs for anywhere near the same amount of time. They've got that information. One thing to point out, though, that the fuel load will be much less.
Yeah, you're right. And then the contenders just in the last few laps. Oh, look, Russell!
This is Russell closing in of Markelov. This could be absolutely crucial at the end of the race, and they're both gaining on the car ahead, which is a lap down. That's Roy Nissany, side by side down to the first turn. Who breaks latest? Markelov eases back into the prime position that he wants to find himself in. He's got the racing line, but he's having to go on the defensive as Lando Norris also going on the attack with the fastest lap of the race. But Russell is right in the slipstream now and closing every single metre as he pulls out of it. We go on board. Markelov ahead, the Russian driver, the Brit that we're on board with, is the championship leader, and he's not quite willing to risk it. Markelov once again super late on the brakes, and it's maintained his fourth place.
Yeah, he braked so deep on the outside is the right line, but he braked so deep it surprised me. I was thinking that Russell had the advantage of the line, but Markelov on the outside was extremely good to resist the attack of George Russell, and it's important this time because these two needs to be the difference on the race pace.
This is Norris taking Arjun Maini in the Trident. He lost his position in the round of pit stops, and this is late, but he forces his way through on the medium tyre, and he's just got Latifi up the road now next to clear. It didn't work for him in a great phase of the race. George Russell seemingly with a lot more confidence and so much more speed than Artem Markelov. Remember, this could be for the net race victory. We go on board with him into the parabolica. He's thinking about the move. Oh, he had to make the move. He's made it at the very last moment, but he was so close to contact, and that could be absolutely crucial. How many times do you see people overtaking into the parabolica? Russell went for it, and he's now fourth.
I think he did for purpose, because I don't know, the difference between Russell and Markelov was so big that maybe Markelov, he did it
tactically.
Yeah.
And he's retaking the position. Great insight from Davide Valsecchi, giving us the racer's mind there. Markelov easing off, letting Russell go for it. Russell went for it, and then Markelov gets him back, which brings Alexander Albon back into play. At Silverstone, it was a poor pit stop for ART that allowed Alexander Albon to escape reverse today. Slow pit stop for Dams, and Russell will be kicking himself inside that car because he knows that he's just been absolutely buttered up by Artem Markelov. Look at this. This was Markelov, and not expecting the change of speed. Markelov seeing him coming, and Davide, you said it immediately. You were waving that is what he was doing, and you don't often see him move into the parabolica, and that is why.
What the hell was Markelov doing? That was extremely dangerous. He just slammed on the brakes in the last corner.
And that is the other side of it, of course. And Markelov will argue it's racing tactics, and under investigation right now. The turn one incident leaving a track and gaining an advantage. Alessio Lorandi is under investigation for that. A lot of drivers went off the road on that opening lap. Now Albon with a good run right now, and Russell's just got to calm himself down. He's got to focus for now what's going on in his mirrors.
Extremely important, the line of the exit of parabolica. Look, Albon, that he is a bit closer.
He needs to give the position back. That was extremely dangerous.
So Russell suggesting he should give the position back, but he's having to look in his wing mirrors right now. DRS open for both of them, because he's within a second of Markelov, but here comes Albon, and if he's in a bad mood at the moment, it might be about to get worse, because Albon's trying to go all the way around the outside. Markelov just ahead, and that was an excellent move completed by Alexander Albon, and George Russell's mood will be filthy right now. He's got to compose himself. He's got to try and come back immediately, because this is crucial all the time. Oh, he's so close to making contact as he switches the line into the second chicane. That gives you an idea of the speed that they're breaking down from, but he can't retake the position, and Albon for the moment is up to fifth.
Russell cannot risk in brake, because sometimes he takes a bit of meters away from the braking point. Maybe he's in the fight for the championship. He didn't want to risk.
Let's recap this. This is into parabolica. He tucks back in, and Markelov is waiting for him to make the move.
Extremely smart and clever from my point of view.
I saw that, mate. I saw that.
He needs to focus and concentrate more to the race, because Albon just surprised him. Look, he brakes so deep on the outside, and that was perfect, because look how close Albon was to the white line on the exit. Was just spot on.
Immaculate overtake, but I don't think Russell will want to see any of this back. Not his happiest 2 laps in the championship so far for the championship leader on 192 points, and you're absolutely right. almost tennis-like stuff just on the line from Alexander Albon, who has 5th position. Remember, that could easily turn in to 2nd place. At the moment, Tadasuke Makino has enough of a gap on Artem Markelov. He's got 29 seconds, and now we can see it's 45 seconds. You see the graphic on the picture for the race leader. So Makino's opening stint has given him an enormous advantage, and so we are seeing the battle play out for the moment. That's more than enough for Makino to come in, make a pit stop, and get to the end of this race, because as you say, Davide, he's going to come in as late as possible. This could be a sensational victory for the rookie driver.
Yeah, it's not easy to get, but can be amazing, to be honest. He needs to maintain his pace, because now he's running on 1:36. He needs to maintain this lap time till the end, and will be not easy, because behind him, Markelov, Albon, Russell, all drivers that they know how to win races, and this is an advantage.
So the Honda Junior driver now, Davide, having to look after his tyres for a rookie who's run on this bespoke Pirelli rubber. How difficult is it in your rookie season to learn these tyres?
Yeah, to be honest, you need a bit of time to get into it, but he's lucky because this track don't use so much the medium compound, to be honest. And
it's still really good pace there. Nice work. We've got about 12 laps until the pit stop.
Calm as you like at Russian time, but this happens every day, that you casually charge through on the alternate strategy from 14th to take the lead on lap number 5. No further action on Alessio Lorandi, so race control have gone through all of the start replays. They don't need to see anything else now, and so Makino just has to take it easy, and the race is in the palm of his hand. So let's focus on the championship battle. We've got Russell in 6th, and this is Lando Norris closing in, and this is the title battle at the sharp end. We've got Alexander Albon in 3rd place. He's 1 position up the road. He's done the job by getting past Russell. Now, this is absolutely crucial for the title battle. For so long in the middle part of the year, it was Russell with the momentum in the last few rounds. We've seen a lot of points, over 30 points. Russell's lost to Norris, who has reclaimed his way back into this battle, and he's just under a second away from his rival. The 2 Brits about to go head to head.
I think that Russell is trying to find concentration back, because I think that he lost a bit of momentum when he tried to attack Markelov, and was surprised that Markelov just brake earlier to the parabolic and let him pass too, and then he made a great overtake on Russell. So I think that Russell lost a bit of concentration. Now he's trying to find the rhythm to come back on Alexander Albon, but look, Norris, he has the chance to try to gain some points on the perfect rival, so he's pushing so hard to try to get Russell.
So he is closing in. Albon having to check his mirrors. Albon so far this year with a superb season, 3 times a race winner. And then we see Russell getting ever closer, and if Norris can just close in and keep within a second, he will have a mega toe at the end of the straight. Russell lining up the move.
Keep pushing, mate. Good job, good job.
And you hear the reassurance on the radio. He's going to close in further and further as we go down this iconic main straight past the timing tower. Not close enough. And he comes in to the first chicane, closer, but nowhere near where he wants to be to try and make the move. And the title contenders, not in the order that they are in the championship, but currently in the same part of the racetrack, separated across the 3 of them by just under 2 seconds. Lap 14 of 30. Where on earth has that gone? The story of the race so far, a surprising amount of degradation at a circuit where you don't often see it. The super softs absolutely melting away. Tadasuke Makino, the race leader that you're now looking at, one of 3 drivers to start on the white-walled medium tyre.
I mean, it's a fantastic job you're doing there so far, mate. Keep that pace up. At the moment, you've got about an 8-second lead after the pit stop.
And that is a message that, Davide, you're smiling, you're laughing, because if you're a rookie driver, imagine hearing that.
Yeah, he's just flying, Makino. Best race by far of this season, and he's doing everything perfectly, because also his race pace is competitive in comparison to the other guys. So Makino is doing the race of his life at the moment, and I'm so happy for him.
Before today, he's best in Formula 2, 6th place in Austria. This is a sensational afternoon. Back to the championship picture, back on board with Lando Norris. We were for the second, you can see he is absolutely within the window using DRS now and closing in. Russell having to check his mirrors, there's the check, and he's waiting for him, he's closing in, this is possible. He's got Russell on the defensive, we're on board with the driver. Second in the championship, he's trying to do the reverse move, and he's now got his rival moving to parts of the racetrack that he doesn't want to be in. This is Russell versus Norris as they go through Curva Grande.
And it's not easy because he touched the limitator, Norris, but here he could use the Lipster tracking.
Oh, it's so close between the two rivals, and he's got two wheels on the off the road as he tried to take the position, and he was given just about a car's width. He kept his foot to the floor, and Russell is still not comfortable right now, and Norris knows this is his opportunity to try and get that 9-point gap in the championship down.
Norris is thinking Russell is too much because he opened the line to here.
Man, you put me off the track.
Yeah.
Right on cue. So this is into turn number 1, was the contact between the two of them. And there was, you know. So contact between the two, and Russell's mood that wasn't great getting even worse, and he left just about a car's width, reminiscent of Vettel and Alonso a few years ago, with Vettel putting two wheels on the grass and making his way through. Norris not able to do that this time, and now the rivals who go in, they've had great respect for each other all year long, but they are currently racing with high temperatures right now.
I think that Russell was extreme to open the line in Curva Grande. Norris was on the outside. Russell opened the line since the space was just enough, but Norris had to put the two exit wheel on the grass, a bit risky.
Now, is Norris going to be close enough for a move? Shapes to make it and can't quite get there, but he's right with him. The McLaren Junior we're looking at. We're on board with the Mercedes Junior. Norris already this weekend running in Formula 1 free practice. He says it takes a little bit of adjustment to go from Formula 1 machinery back to Formula 2, but he certainly has adjusted right now. He looks the more comfortable of the championship rivals as he makes his way to the second chicane. All the while this is going on, Albon is being given a chance to sprint clear just in front. He's not able to build that much of a gap. So Makino doing everything he needs to at the front. He's got a 16-second lead. Boschong is there as well, ahead of his teammate Boccolacci, who's 4 seconds behind. And Boccolacci said yesterday, does anyone want any of my luck? Well, hold that thought, Dorian, because you might be about to be paid back after he had that gearbox problem yesterday. We're looking at Artem Marglos, still ahead of Alexander Albon. No word from race control investigating that move at the Parabolica.
No, you're right.
Facing it, mate. Good work. Keep it up. Ideally, we'll get another 10 laps out of this before we box. Okay.
Bakiro is one of the quickest in the track at the moment, so congratulations to him, because his race pace at the moment is just perfect. It's just perfect. And then Russell, I think that he has a little advantage because Norris behind him. When he takes the slipstream at the end of the straight, he's hitting the limitator for the 6th gear that maybe is not long enough, and you can see that Norris gained speed, and then he arrived at a certain point where the car just stopped and break down a bit, and that is the limitator. So little advantage for Norris, for George Russell, I think.
It's a great point as the driver in the lead of the points battle, still ahead of Lando Norris. Lando Norris, remember, hasn't won a race since the opening race of the season in Bahrain. And contrast that then with what we've seen from George Russell, who is 4 times a race winner. But his last victory came in Austria in the feature race, and so strange situation with the drivers at the front of the championship having gone a few rounds without standing on the top step. But you go into the champion, Davide, you fought for a championship, you go into that championship management idea where suddenly podiums are fine and there's no real need to push that extra 10% for the win.
Yeah, and on this, Russell is doing perfectly, because he didn't fight at all Alexander Albon, but he fight so much to Norris. So, did you saw him, when there was the fight with someone that is not in the fight of the championship, he's soft, but he's extreme to this rival for the championship. So Russell is doing everything perfect at the moment.
How difficult is it for a racing driver, Davide, to just curb back the instincts, to not go for the move that you want to when you've got a championship in mind?
That is a good question, because that is not easy at all. Sometimes we can see mistake also in Formula 1 at this point. The most difficult part of the driver is try to calm down yourself, because sometimes you want to push, you want to be aggressive, but sometimes you need to be calm, and that is the most difficult part of being a driver, I think.
So Sergio Sette Camara, who will be so annoyed with not being able to take his place on the front row. He still hasn't won a race this year. He won a race last year in Formula 2, but not with the Carlin team, and he's currently going wheel to wheel and being under a little bit of pressure from Nick De Vries into the braking zone, and they're both setting De Vries last time around, setting his personal best lap as he closes down the gap for what is 12th position. Unusual to see both of these guys out of the points, but the racing is still ferocious.
I think that De Vries at the first corner, he just missed the brake and he had to cut the chicane, and he dropped down to the last position, so he had to recover position with Sette Camara that starting from the pit lane. So not a very lucky first lap for both of them, but at the moment they are the quickest guy in the track.
Yeah, right now looking very good indeed as we go back to the race leader. So really worth underlying how much of a shock this is. A best of 6th position, but he's doing everything right now.
Gotta keep it up. It's a really consistent lap time. Good work.
And so Makino, who is in the lead compared to the other drivers who have stopped by 44 seconds, more than enough time to come in, change from the medium tyre to run the other compound that he has to due to the rules, and come out in the lead. So you're not hearing this wrong. Tadasuke Makino, if he keeps going and he keeps this pace, is going to win the feature race in Monza, and once again we're going to see a winner from outside the main positions. Last year Fuoco won from 8th. Before that, it was 21st, and the year before that, it was 8th. So, you know, no real need to bother with qualifying next year.
You're right. Sometimes it's strange. I had to look at the statistics, but how big is it, the penalty for not having the pit stop, the mandatory pit stop during the race? Because Makino is leading the race, 44 second point 6 to the first driver that already pit, that is Marco. So he's far away at the moment.
Job, pulling away from Albon. Did you head now? Great job.
So Markelov being encouraged on the radio as well, and this battle that was pretty ferocious a few moments ago, just like we saw in Belgium. You have to say, Russell had the ability to go on the defensive in a major way. You mentioned his defensive driving earlier on. He was very, very calm when Norris got a run on him, and he defended that well in Belgium. Same thing we saw today, and it is brilliant to see these two rivals, these two drivers that surely will make it to Formula 1 one day. We've got Norris obviously linked with McLaren, and if he doesn't end up there, he could end up at Toro Rosso. He's getting closer to the driver in Russell that could well end up at Williams. Dorian Boccolacci comes into the pits to put on the soft tyres with 10 laps to go. Ambitious stuff, Dorian. Remember that he is a rookie. He's just into the series. It's only his second round in Formula 2, and maybe he is struggling to make the tyres work. Now Norris has got a great run on Russell, and Russell is going to the defensive. Norris trying to force his car around the outside, and it's close between the two of them. Now he's trying to swap the line, he's trying to try the cover, and now he's got so much momentum. The championship rivals are so close together as they go through Curva Grande, and now he's got the inside line that turns into the outside line. He's got the momentum though, and he's paying back the close defence that we saw a few moments ago to take the position. Lando Norris gets past his championship rival and up into 5th place.
That was just perfect, believe me. Was not easy to have this overtake, but he prepared the attack in the lap, in the corner before, in the first chicane, and then he was smart on Curva Grande to take the inside, because you do less meters and you can gain advantage in terms of meters, and then he was just in front on the braking time. Was smart to get the inside here, because Russell was covering the outside and was covering the inside for the next corner, but Norris was just so clever. Well done, mate, because that was perfect.
So, a major moment in the championship yesterday. Russell, under pressure, took 4 points for pole to extend his lead from 5 to 9, and he has been passed on track by his rival up to 5th place, and we've seen these two go wheel to wheel. The difference compared to Belgium 1 week ago, this time Norris gets past. And it's been a difficult round in Belgium for Russell, you have to say. Not his, by far, ART and Russell's worst of the season, but he's coming back. This one might not be over yet. He's gaining all the time. Russell, who has been on the front foot for so much of this championship campaign, thinking about the move, and he's got the inside line. Can he slow it down? No, he can't. He looked a late braking move, and that is why he's immediately on the throttle, but Norris stays in fifth position.
Yeah, I thought, it's impossible, it's too far, but he just did it! But it was a bit too far, that is difficult, so difficult. He had a small lock-up, but he just missed the chicane, and he had to give back the position. Russell tried, but maybe it was too risky, it was a bit too far away.
He gave it everything, but could not slow the ART down. Norris staying cool and retaking the position. Brilliant to see these two going wheel to wheel. A lock up there, which won't be great for looking after those medium tyres at the end of the race. Still, Makino with a 17-second lead, a 43-second lead to his teammate. So he has enough time to come in, change the tyres, come back out. You see that on your screen now with the graphic. 43.3 seconds. Makino to Markelov. What a story this is. What a story we're looking at right now. You see how hard Russell is pushing at the exit of the Ascari chicane. He's doing everything to stay with Norris. Norris is doing everything to try and get out of DRS range.
Yeah, it's strange, because I thought that Norris, he could open the gap immediately, but Russell is still there, so congratulations to him, because he could maintain his race pace. With it not so easy, because it's a bit too far away, but with the use of DRS, probably he can have the chance to get up.
Is he going to try it again? He can't take that much more out of the tyres, and he knows it. He can't make that late lunge, and this is going to be a really important lap for Russell if he's going to close back up to Norris, because Norris seems to be in clear air to pull out a little bit more of a gap. As long as Russell can stay within DRS range, he has a chance. If Norris gets that gap out over a second, I think it is going to be these positions in which they finish when we see Boschon come in. They'll both go up one more place.
And it's important, this battle, because it can be also the battle for the podium position, because at the moment they are 5th and 6th, but probably Boschon still has to stop, and Makino, they will be there in that position after the pit stop. Oh, crucial also for the podium.
So Tadasuke Makino, one of 3 drivers on the medium tyre at the start, but he was able to make it work with an electric pace that the MPs, who are also on the alternate strategy, weren't able to. And so the Honda junior driver just needs to keep going, and my word, would he deserve this. This would be absolutely incredible. So often we see half the grid on one strategy and half the grid on another. I'll quote you from Alexander Albon, who says the strategy here is fairly obvious. It was obvious, but sometimes there is a race like this in Formula 2 that catches everyone out in the pit lane. So much racing intelligence down there, but sometimes the track temperature changes and it all goes out the window. Russell is closing in, still within DRS range, got a much better run this time around. Said it would be an important lap, and he has closed in a major way. This time he can attack, he's going to go for it, he's going to go to the inside line. Can he slow it down? He can slow it down, and there was no defence offered by Norris at that point, and Russell retakes the position. Absolutely vital stuff in the championship battle.
Russell was just perfect. Norris didn't close the door, and I could not understand why, because he was close. I knew that he was trying to close a bit the line. Russell was just perfect, because he slowed down here, and then he could open the gas very early to have a good exit. Look, Norris, I think, was just surprised. It was a little mistake. Don't close the line to Russell.
Amazing stuff to see these positions changing all the time. The Titans at the top of the points battle.
We push out now to get the gap. Latifi is pushing out behind.
So told to push, and Russell, who maybe was in a tyre saving mode for a few laps, you saw Norris surprise him a few laps ago, and now he retakes the position. But it was all about that lap where he didn't quite have the chance. He closed in, he stayed within the range that he needed, and right now Latifi's looking good.
You are fastest on track at the moment.
So Latifi being given the encouragement. He was always a master last year about making the tyres last longer. And we got Arjun Maini into the pits looking for his first points today since the French round of Formula 2, but he is left in the pits. When the laptop's on the car, it's not a good sign at all. Nicholas Latifi, fastest lap of the race, as he looks to mix it with Russell and Norris and try and get himself up the order. Remember what Davide said a few laps ago, this could be for the podium positions. Latifi doing everything. Remember, right now, if the race finished at the moment, he would start tomorrow in second place at the moment. Antonio Fuoco is in reverse grid pole. Sergio Sette Camara's got himself up to 9th place, rounding out the points for the moment. Luca Giotto, Norris now trying to respond, and if Norris wanted to look after the tyres, bad luck about that, because Latifi is so much quicker right now.
Yeah, you're right, and then they're crucial the next few laps for Macchino, that is leading the race, and he has 42 seconds of advantage to Markov. That maybe cannot be enough to maintain the leadership, but then 45 seconds to Albon, that is fourth at the moment, so it will be crucial the next few laps for Macchino to understand if we can win this race. But remember, cool tires just after the pit stop can be a big disadvantage.
And with the tyre degradation, when does he come in? Does he put it on nice and early? Remember, those tyres are degrading, and yet he's not that much slower. Certainly right now, Russell has put in a few good laps, but that gap, when he came out of the pits, was at 45. It's only come down to 42. That is enough to come in and change tyres, so he will run and run and run and not take the risk on the super softs, quite simply because he's driven a brilliant race so far, and he doesn't need to take the risk. I don't know whether we had, because it was such a spike in track temperatures compared to what we've seen already so far, as Norris comes back with the fastest lap of the race. Big response there to get within 6/10 of his championship rival, now 3/10 of his championship rival, as we check in, understandably, and we have to really see the race leader here, because seeing is believing with Macchino. Started 14th. And the alternate strategy. Well, we're used to seeing a Russian time run an alternate strategy and maybe spring a surprise victory, but it's usually Markelov. It's not usually Nicholas Latifi, and they are beginning to get ready for what is a high-pressure pit stop, but they've got more than enough time. Is he coming in this time around? No, he's not. He's going one more time, and this is quite simply because his times are fine, and he wants to run the super soft tyre for as little time as possible. Norris is dropped back a little bit there from Russell. He had got within 3/10 of a second. So still to pit in this race, Macchino and Boschong, and it's that's Boccolacci. That's Dorian Boccolacci in the pits. He's back in. So MP had the right strategy today, but Boccolacci has an issue with the front left. Disappointment for him, and the bad luck returns for the Frenchman.
Macchino now is coming to the box. I'm quite sure that now is the lap where he can have the pista, because his team is ready on the pit lane, and so it will be extremely important to check it out, his pit stop. And look, Norris is still there. Russell and Norris fight already.
So well matched, the pace between the two of them. A ding-dong battle between championship contenders, and all the while Alexander Albon is up ahead. So right now, Russell is gaining points on Norris, but losing them to Alexander Albon as we go in. After today, 5 races to go, 1 sprint, and then the full rounds at Sochi and Yas Marina to close out the season. Boccolacci has come to a halt, and he's come to a halt there ahead of his team, so he didn't quite get to his team.
Not lucky, I think Macchino, because he had the team just in front of him out to wait to push on, so not a perfect line for Macchino. Was easier if the pit lane was completely free, that Macchino can stop completely straight into the pit lane. But I think that now the pit lane is busy, and maybe it's not fantastic for Macchino.
Reminder, Macchino does still have to stop.
You've done really well so far, mate. So we're going to say, box. Box beautiful.
You can hear how excited Macchino is. Amazing stuff. Never had a podium, let alone a victory. And in comes Boschong from second position. It'll be interesting to see where he gets out. He's got an advantage that would probably bring him, it would bring him out in the points. He's certainly going to be passed by Albon, Russell, Norris and Latifi, but I think he will be in the mix for this reverse grid. Let's see, he's dropping down the order. And now Boschong, the next one, does he come out on the front row for tomorrow in 7th position on that super soft tyre? And here come the drivers behind that. Sergio Sene Cameron out in 7th position, but at a slower speed. So he's going to come out, and Sene Cameron will get him into the braking zone. And so it's down to 8th for Boschong on cold tyres, and he doesn't want to take too much out of them. Crucial laps, big reward available if he can stay in 8th. It's reverse grid pole for tomorrow. And this was Boschong's stop as they got the Swiss driver off the line, and just a little bit of wheel spin.
That was perfect there because the mechanics was so quick to change his tires to push also the car. De Vries just missed the line. Set the camera in the last few laps made the difference to De Vries because he just got the 7th position. And here, Makino.
The race leader comes in for the most important pit stop of his Formula 2 career. 3 laps to go. This just needs to go to plan, and it's looking very good indeed for a shock victory. Here are the Russian time team getting rid of the medium tyres that he has used to such amazing effect, putting on the softs, giving himself all the time. He gets away, and he did everything he needed to. The mechanics did everything they needed to. An exemplary stop, and he's just got a few laps to go for his first ever Formula 2 victory.
And Markelov is coming, but the thing that Makino is still in front was just perfect. His strategy, his race pace, the pit stop, everything was done perfectly. And now Makino is leading with the cold tires, but with the soft one.
So he should have a pace advantage. He's only got a couple of laps to run, and he does still have the lead as suspected. So there was more than enough time there. Markelov closing in, and that is absolutely fascinating. Russian time 1-2 with Makino leading Markelov. They were steady with the pit stop, and now Makino just has to get those tyres up to temperature and hope that the difference in compound is enough to ensure him. They're not worried at all, are they, on the pit wall? And why would you be worried when you've got a 1-2 Makino ahead of Markelov?
Also because sometimes when you change the compound, maybe the race balance is changing a bit, the balance of the setup of the car, and you're struggling a bit to find the rhythm. Extremely important. 2.7 seconds in front of Markelov. That usually is the man of the last few laps. Extremely important for Makino to find the concentration and to be as quick as possible to try to find his first victory. He's losing a bit. And
that is all down to tyre temperature on this lap. It's all down to cold tyres. Norris not looking to attack his championship rival, now looking backwards, and Nicholas Latifi, who earlier on closed this gap very quickly indeed. These few laps have absolutely flown by. The race victory is in contention. Can Makino do what this gaggle of cars couldn't early on and make the super soft tyre last in an effective way? If he can, he's going to win the race. I have to say, last few laps, Markelov began to close that gap down, and it is a 2.1 second gap for the lead. It's much less than that as we look at Norris and Latifi. Can Latifi offer a move to try and get 5th position? He stays on the racing line. He's going to try and get the power down earlier than Norris as they go to Curva Grande.
Perfect exit from Latifi that is trying to use the lip trim and trying to overtake in the session chicane. Makino needs to push more down to make the difference. And look, Latifi maybe he can have the chance. Not easy because a bit far away.
He's thinking about it, but he can't at the moment. Norris driving under pressure. No answer to the pace of Russell. So Russell is going to win that battle that went lap after lap.
2 laps to go, 2 laps. Prime is a better tire, an option.
The prime tyre that they refer to is the medium white wall tyre that they are on. Makino will have to try, and now he's brought it up to temperature, just ease away, and he might have done enough here. It's every driver for themselves. There'll be no team orders like anything like that. Latifi closing in, going to Ascari, and he might have the opportunity to go through, and he roars through to take 5th position away from Norris, who could not offer a defence.
And pay attention to Latifi because it was by far quicker than Norris. He overtook him just before the Ascari and was the first overtake here of the race. So I think that Latifi is in a perfect condition of tires. Well done, because that was good. And look, Makino, what a glorious day for him. He just maintained the gap in this lap, so probably it was about of temper. Yeah, like you said.
So get the 3 chicanes right, get yourself through the Lesmos, get yourself through the Parabolica, and wait for some sort of reaction if you are Tadasuke Makino, as we see Latifi getting very close indeed. Norris has really closed the gap there, and he's trying that alternate line around the outside. He's not able to get the power down. Sergio Camera setting a ferocious pace behind. He's 2 seconds a lap faster than Lando Norris. Remember, Norris has had to go wheel to wheel, and he's trying to come back against Latifi. He needs to come back against Latifi. Right now, he's losing more points in the championship battle to his rival, George Russell, who, remember, a few laps ago, he was the driver ahead, but Latifi seems to have done enough. Norris will just gather himself together, and the McLaren Junior will try to attack in the final few meters of the race. We are on lap 30, the final lap of an engrossing race that has been all about strategy, and we're in to the final few moments.
Perfect also set the camera. I set the fastest lap and he's 9 seconds behind Norris, starting from the pit lane. But let me say, that was the hero of the day. Macchino, last corner.
He has the parabolica to go. He did the pit stop perfectly. He used the alternate strategy. He was 14th on the grid. He passed them like they weren't there. He's put the super soft on. He's made it work today. You are looking at an absolutely extraordinary victory for Tadasuke Makino, who crosses the line to win at Monza and lead a Russian time 1-2 with Artem Markelov in second. Alexander Albon on the podium again. Russell ahead of Latifi and his championship rival Norris, who was 6th, and Sede Camera, who had to start from the pit lane, came all the way back through to 7th. It is Antonio Fuoco who got ahead of Boschong to start on reverse grid pole. De Vries was the final point scorer, but you can't say enough about the Honda Junior driver Tadasuke Makino. That was magnificent.
I think that tonight is going to listing EU because...
Fantastic, well done, good job, awesome work, well done. Fantastic drive there, Tada. You win it, mate. RTP2. Congratulations, brilliant drive.
Yeah.
Mate, sure, really. Mate, awesome job. That was a fantastic drive on Prime. Mate, awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Incredible. Incredible. That is what it sounds like to go from 14th in the race and win, to beat Artem Markelov.